All right, we are live. We are live. Check Facebook.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
All
Okay,
right.
yes, we are officially live. I'm looking at us on Facebook. Um, let a few people log in or whatever. I mean, let me share it. Share the groups. What's up, everybody? Hold on for a minute. We about to go. We about to discuss the, for lack of a better, the melee in Mount Vernon the other night. Um, just sharing it. We wait for a few more people. We got this Black West special edition of the Black Westchester Power Hour with me and my brother Damon K. Jones. I got the call when I was on my way to be honored at an event in Yonkers on Friday, and I have not really have had a chance to address it and really get my head around it. And we're gonna discuss it in a few minutes. So tune in, share it on your pages. We're about to get into this situation. Damon, say what's up to the people while I share this. Can you hear me, Damon? Damon, can you hear me?
I don't know if I'm live or not.
Yeah, okay,
What happened
okay.
to
Can you
AJ?
hear me? Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Yo.
now, yeah, I was saying say what's up to the people.
Yeah, hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? Damon K. Jones here, just hollering at you. Um, and no, we lost you for a minute, AJ. Actually, we both went blank for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, man, I woke up this morning and I was kind of troubled, um, thinking about this tragic incident and a loss of life, actually a loss of two lives because the young girl that has been arrested, is going to go through her own ordeal, and her family is going to go through her own ordeal.
Wait,
Um,
before you go, I was just told, I just got a call. The aunt has just been arrested for accessory. The aunt that was driving her to the situation, she just got arrested.
Rightly so. Like
Yeah.
and I'm not, dude. Like I'm not. Yes, rightly so. Adult, absolutely adult. Like we're gonna have to, as black people, we're gonna have to start accepting responsibility. These are children, right? And children are going to be children. It's up to the adults to set the standards and the code of conducts in our community, and how our community is going to be. And if you have children, that are in gangs, and children that doing things that that they shouldn't do, it's your responsibility to correct those problems, right? Black men need to be fathers to their children. Like we're we're co-conspirators. As I said, we're co-conspirators of generational trauma, right? And we're passing our trauma off to our children. And a lot of times our children don't know how to deal with that trauma, so they react in violence towards each other. You know, but I really think, like, we have to grasp on this issue as black people, as black communities, and not everything is the white man's fault. I understand systematic racism. I've been fighting it publicly for over 30 years, but I also understand that there's a need of self responsibility, that we have to be responsible to ourselves, we have to be responsible to our families, and as parents, we have to be responsible to our children. I mean, when are we going to, every tragedy, we say enough is enough, but we don't do the things that are necessary. And I'm saying we, I'm saying we, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm saying it's a big W, we, right? And I'm talking to the adults. You know, it doesn't make any sense. If your kid is coming home and he ain't got no job, but he got Alexander McQueen sneakers on, he got a belt that costs $200, right? He got a jacket that costs $1,500, and you're not questioning that, then you're the problem. You're the problem. Or your daughter's coming home with the same stuff, with a $6,000 bag, and you're not questioning that, you're the problem. Grown ass adults have to do grown ass things in their self responsibility. These are children. These are children.
So to catch everybody up, for those who may not know, so Friday, somewhere around 3:30 ish, I believe that there was some sort of a parade to celebrate the 12th state champion of the Mount Vernon basketball team, the men's basketball team, and I think they passed several of the schools, and they were going up to the city hall where I guess they were going to be honored. So about 2 blocks before City Hall, that block, like just what's that, Prospect? Yeah, Prospect, between 4th and 3rd. There was an incident where one of the young ladies stabbed. There was a big fight, I believe, and in the fight, 2 of the young ladies got stabbed. One young lady stabbed 17 times. She lived. The other one was stabbed around 7 times. She was taken to Jacoby Hospital and died on the way to the hospital. The alleged killer was arrested that night, and I got a call today that her aunt was arrested today or last night as an accessory, because the word on the street is, again, I have not independently corroborated all this stuff, the aunt drove them, seen the girls, then circled back around. You know what I'm saying? And then let her out, and everything happened. And so the aunt basically has some culpability in the situation too.
She has a lot of culpability in it, and it's sad, bro. It's real sad. It's real sad.
Yeah. Yo, and so again, so I was honored on Friday by the Mediterranean People and Community, the Community Service Award. I'm actually on my way. I'm actually getting ready to go, and my phone starts blowing up. And then I'm on my way there, and like my phone is blowing up. And I eventually had to turn my phone off temporarily just to be able to be in the festiveness of the event itself. First person I seen was Reggie's son, Jahi, because his father was being honored, and he's sending me pictures of the girl who's the alleged killer. Obviously, I'm seeing pictures of her holding a bloody knife on. I don't know if she posted it or somebody else posted it, and there was videos of her saying these bitches can get it beforehand. And then I'm getting calls, and I've been getting calls from people involved in the school that have been complaining to the school board and the principals and everybody involved. They knew that the static was going on between these two groups. You know what I'm saying? But nobody did nothing. And I even got a call last week. Straight up, somebody told me something seriously is going to happen eventually, because they're not doing anything about it. And less than a week later, these 2 young ladies get stabbed. This is probably, and I don't know historically, I don't have the data to back this up, but when Shamoya got killed, she was an innocent bystander between 2 gang members or whatever. This may be the first time a teenage girl was technically targeted and killed. Like, she wasn't an innocent bystander, and she was targeted and killed. And this might be one of the first times that's actually happened in a school-age kid. We got a couple of comments real quick. So, Sandy from Boys and Girls Club said the Boys and Girls teens have organized a peace protest that starts at 4:30 p.m. to the incident site and past the victim's house and back to the club. That's tomorrow. I understand that a group of stakeholders are going to be meeting tomorrow, and then they're going to do a protest in front of the board of education, calling for some of the board members to be removed for their lack of doing anything about this. Um, yo, this, I'm still wrapping my head around this situation because this is crazy. Stephanie Swan said, "Heartless." Yeah, like somebody else told me today, and I forgot who exactly told me. Yo, Damon. So when one of these kids take a gun and shoot somebody from 10, 12 feet away, any coward could do that. But you got to be a special individual to walk up to somebody and stab them 17 times. Like that's up close and personal. Like
Yo,
that's a whole different story.
yo, that's crazy. But I mean, that's that's crazy. That's all I can say. Right?
There's another comment. Sorry, social media and cell phones will be the death of us. This problem has between these two young ladies have been festering for months. I'm sure someone knew about it. I'm telling you, they tell me that the board knew about it and the school knew about it, but nobody was doing anything. Um, Jealousy, envy, and insecurity reared its ugly head, and the young lady lost her life. Blame does need to go be placed on upon anyone except the aunt and the parents. Wait. Blame does not need to be placed upon anyone except the aunt and the parents and anyone who knew this potential violent situation and did nothing about it. We have to be proactive.
Yeah, well, we have to listen, and this is me, right? And this is me. I really think we got to start holding parents of these, especially when they're under 18, right? Because if you're 18, you could go into the military and you could carry a gun. But if you're under 18, you are at the care, custody, and control of an adult. And 9 times out of 10, it's your mother or your father or your mother and your father. But if you have kids going out here,
I think Damon is frozen. I think Damon is frozen. I think Damon is yeah. I had to turn on the audio to see. We're gonna wait and hopefully he'll resolve. He's in the car right now, going from taking care of some stuff. But basically, I think what he was saying was, parents have to step up. The adults in the community have to step up. Okay, we lost Damon. We're gonna get him back soon as he can log back in. I remember back when I lived in Harlem for a minute, in the city, they had kids that was doing all these crimes and killing and hurting people and they would get kicked out of the projects, but their family would be there and their moms or their grandmother would let them back in. So they started, if your kid does something, the whole family gets thrown out. Like, so the kid can't come back. I do believe that we need more responsibility from our adults. Our adults have to step up. Our parents. I think it's unacceptable. I've heard now. When I say that the board knew about this, I find it hard to believe that they didn't because I got the calls from people who told me that they reported this friction between these two groups for a while. You know what I'm saying? So, and they told me last week that something's gonna happen. If they don't do something, something serious is gonna happen, and that was less than a week ago. So if I'm getting the calls and the people are telling me they talked to the board, I'm finding it very difficult that the board didn't know. We got a superintendent. He's already got an exit strategy. He got another job lined up. If he hasn't left already, he starts with a new school district in the next school year. Um, we just have to do something. It's 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 getting too crazy. You know what I'm saying? I see more people complain about the Will Smith smack of 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 um of Chris Rock than I seen people actually stepping up and posting that this got to stop and that this situation was serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we need to get our priorities in order. We have some comments. I'm still waiting for Damon. Like I said, he's driving. And I know up where he is, sometimes he gets lost. He gets what you call cell hell, and he gets so when he gets back, we'll get it. Sandy said the lack of compassion among young people is a result of a number of factors, not just parents. It is the culture. It is a culture at the root, which is a lack of vision for a brighter future. And for people that don't know, Sandy works with the youth at the Boys and Girls Club, and she's doing great work. We got Damon back. I was explaining you driving, and up around your way, sometimes you lose service. So,
Yeah, yes, yeah. So, as I was saying, man, we have to have more accountability. We have the more accountability of the parents. I've seen videos. I was sent videos of fights and scuffles and mayhem that's going on up at the high school. And if these videos are added, them kids should not be a part of. They need to be separated. And you're gonna say, well, why would you say that, Damon?
okay, I think Damon froze again. Again, he might be going in and out because he's driving. Looks like he's trying to get back. His audio is about to come out. I see him, but I can't hear him. He's about to get back in. His audio is about to come out. I see him, but I can't hear him. Right, yeah, he's still his audio. I was just checking. We're waiting to get him back in. Another viewer is saying children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to intimidate them. James Baldwin, we all have work to do.
Hello?
Yes, yes. Now we can hear you. We couldn't hear you for a while. Go ahead. We can hear you now. Oh, we lost David again. Again, he's driving. So we're gonna get him in and out. But whoever left the comment, the James Baldwin comment. Yes, we all have work to do. That is very true. Let's see if we got Damon back. Can you hear me, Damon?
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
I'm explaining you driving the way you at. You know what I'm saying? Cell service ain't that great. So, but go ahead.
No, well, what I was saying is to the fact of the matter is, if there is 50 kids that are unruly, they need to be separated from the rest of the 300, right? Because parents pay a lot of money.
Let me see. Did we lose him again?
To the fact of the matter is, if there is 50 kids that are unruly,
all right. So we lost Damon temporarily again. Some of what he was talking about. So we had a school, Mandela, that used to house all, I guess, the problem kids, for lack of a better word, and they closed that and now entered those kids back into the high school. When prison, what they call Gen Pop. You can't have the kids that are causing all the troubles in school with everybody else. I think removing them and housing them at a separate school is what's needed for starters. For starters, Nas said, and I agree 100%. Nas Duncan, we need to be there for the at-risk teens. We absolutely, absolutely. A lot of us were at-risk teens. You know what I'm saying? And there were programs and things for us to do, and there was mentorships and things to help us. Um, we don't have a lot of that, so, and sometimes I see, and I've heard other people say, I see these programs for these kids. Some of these are already the good kids, but we're dropping the ball and reaching the absolute at-risk kids, the teens that need it the most. I don't know what the answer is for that. Like I said, I'm still wrapping my head around this. I mean, I've gotten so many calls. Damon has gotten so many calls. Everybody wanted to know, wanted to hear what we thought about this. Again, for anybody just tuning in, we lost Damon. Damon's driving, and there's not great cell service where he is, so he may pop in and out, but he'll be back. So for all of y'all that don't know, we just did this live, a special edition of this Black Westchester Power Hour to address what I just read in the headline in the Post, the melee in Mount Vernon. For people that don't know, there was a parade, I guess, to celebrate the 12th state championship of the Mount men's basketball team at the high school. And I guess they went around to it passed several schools and then came up Prospect and was heading up to City Hall when this incident happened. This melee or fight broke out, resulted in two young ladies getting stabbed. One was stabbed 17 times. She lived, and another one was stabbed 7 times, and she was taken to Jacoby Hospital and died on the way to Jacoby. Someone asked me and texted me, why was she taken to Jacoby? Why wasn't she taken to Mount Vernon Hospital? Because Mount Vernon Hospital has been stripped of a trauma unit. There's a lot of people in the Save and Transform Mount Vernon coalition trying to get stuff like that back. You can't take someone. Mount Vernon needs a trauma unit more than any other city and all the stuff we got going on. And sometimes wounds like this and injuries like this are time sensitive, and going all the way to another hospital, you know what I'm saying, that time, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if the young lady could have lived if Mount Vernon could have helped her, but we will never know that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she had to be, trooped off to another hospital. So that's just one of the many issues. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to throw that out there. While we got you, continue talking what you was talking about before, because we've been losing you in and out. Because so you didn't get.
Yeah, man. No, I was just saying, like, it has to be. If they don't have a type of school like Mandela, they need to get that. They need to get that back. They need to get programs that are going to address these kids' needs. And I want to say this, man. Being in corrections, I've watched teenagers, because when I started, we had minors locked up in the jail, and some of these young men, all they needed is a hug. You got young men that are acting out, and when you ask them a simple question, have you ever got a hug? A hug. And they will tell you no. Right? So when you wonder why some of these kids, are acting out, because we're not showing the necessary love to our young men and women. Fathers need to step up. Absolutely. Mothers, you need to stop bouncing your ass on social media and pay attention to your kids. I'm just keeping it 100. I see more women up here shaking their ass instead of reading a book to your child. Like we gotta accept our responsibility and why these kids are wilding out. And we can't. I've never seen. I'm seeing a generation where grown ass men are scared of kids. When I came up, we respected our elders. But part of the problem is, as adults, we ain't doing nothing in the community. How are the kids gonna respect us and the community's looking the way it's looking? And then they go in other communities and they see it nice and clean and thriving. How are we going to ask respect from our children when we're not providing the right programs and necessary education that our children need? Why should they respect us? Like, you know, a lot of these kids are not going to go to college. So what do you have planned for them to get jobs and be productive citizens in the community instead of joining gangs? Right? These kids see gangs as their family more than their own family, and some of these parents co-sign on that ignorant shit. And then we all want to get upset when a tragic like this happened, but we're co-conspirators in the insanity, in the trauma, in the toxicity. We're just as the adults are just as toxic as the goddamn kids. And sometimes even worse, because they're just kids. And you know what's really crazy? What's really crazy about Mount Vernon? You could pick any family out here and they could go back 3-4 generations. They're probably related to each other. But yet they're killing each other. Like, I don't understand.
Ernie Davis used to get in trouble saying Mount Vernon is too incestuous. And that's what he meant. He didn't mean like you sleeping with your cousin. Like, everybody is connected and related to somebody. Like, everybody is. Like, you know, like my mother goes back to a lot of other people's families. I'm finding out that we knew each other and they went to school together, and this one's a distant relative I never knew about. Like, I mean, yo, word up. It's true. It's very true. And you 4 square miles, like a lot of us. So if you 2-3 generations, yeah, our parents went to school together. You know what I'm saying? And if you further back, our grandparents might have went to school together. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. And then you got your family marrying my family, and everybody's connected some kind of way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're getting a lot of texts. I'm trying to get some of the comments on. The Tanya Jones agrees with you. The parents co-sign on them being in gangs. Sandy said 100% true when you was talking. Nas said parents are too busy prepping for photo ops, or the politicians. Stephanie Son says, speak on it, brother Damon. Who else? There's been several. I'm trying to get everybody's comments in here. I think Marvin Church had a comment. The core issue is not the inability of us as a nation to resolve differences. When you have people invading the Capitol, and an adult smacking another for about a tasteless joke, then we are not patterning good behavior for our children. This is not
No.
Let me read the rest of it. This is not just a problem in our community, but in wealthy communities. Look at the Columbine, Newton children need to know that resorting to outburst, violence, and depression is not the answer. The fact is, pure fact, we don't always get what we want, and it goes on. Before you say anything, I know how you feel about the Chris Rock thing. I don't even want to talk about that. I'll be honest.
No. But we can't.
And I can't blame street violence. I'm not going to blame the street violence on Will Smith and Chris Rock.
We can't blame poor parenting on Will Smith. Will Smith has been the safest Negro for the last 40 years. So because he made one mistake, we can't say, well, all black, this sets a back. No, absolutely not. Because they've been crime and violence in Mount Vernon before Will Smith decided to smack Chris Rock.
All right, so
let's be honest.
Right, and we're gonna get off the Chris Rock thing. Reverend Jeffrey Wheeler said, "I'm headed to the mother's house now to pray for her and the family." Yo, I just want to say, shout to my brother Reverend Wheeler. Anytime we have called him up, it doesn't matter if the person is not a member of his church. Just like when it was Nas' situation, Nas was not a member of his church. We called him up. He came with us. He prayed with her, and he was there for her. He held town hall forums for her to speak to the community in his church. She's not even a member of his church. And Reverend Wheeler is one of the, I'm not saying we don't have any other black pastors, but Reverend Wheeler is always on the spot and always on the scene when these situations happen. He is one of those black pastors that actually goes out there and does the work outside of the four walls of his church. Again, I'm not saying there's no other black pastor. There's not enough though, and I wanted to shout him out and give him his respect, because when we call him for any of the situations, he's there. He is, oh, if he's in town, unless he's not in town, he's there. He sits with the families. He don't take pictures. There's no photo ops. He's not doing it for publicity. Most people don't even know he's going. If he stayed here and I didn't just announce it, we wouldn't even know he was at the family's house. But that's how he gets down. So shout out to Reverend Wheeler. We need more black pastors to step up and stop arguing about other things and on some of these crazy things. We definitely need some spiritual healing, and that should be the black pastor stepping up. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So shout out to Reverend Wheeler. Go ahead, Damon.
No, we have to, man.
No, you about to get started. Go ahead.
Yo, I'm going to say what my mother has said. And it's, my mother said, and I'm trying to say it correctly, so we can get the proper feeling from what she said. When you see people like this, and I'm not directing it at any particular pastor, but my mother said, pastors have to check their connection to God when you see things that are crazy in their community and they're not able to, and they're powerless to change it. I'm just going to keep it like that. I mean, she was deeper than that, but, since she's not here, I can't say it the way she said it. But pastors need to start doing more work. It's over 300 houses of worship. Allegedly, that was the last number I was told. And we got sickness, and we got and people are unhealthy spiritually. People are unhealthy in their health wise, and we got issues that we have to address. I mean, like every year, it's we have the same conversation. We have the same conversation, and I say we, so I'm not pointing at anybody. When people say, "Well, who does Negro think he is?" I say we, right? I say we because what goes on in Mount Vernon is a microcosm of what's going on in Black communities throughout the nation. So we have these issues, not just in Mount Vernon. We have these issues everywhere. But since I don't live everywhere and I live in Westchester County, we all and we all have different interests. And I have interests in Mount Vernon. I have children and grandchildren in Mount Vernon. I got a wife that puts her life on the line in Mount Vernon. So yeah, I have interests. And when the kids when these kids come up to the county jail, guess who's taking care of them? Guess who's making sure that they go to the doctor? Guess who's making sure that they get a visit from their pastor? Guess who's making sure if they get their commissary, they get a little job? Guess who's making sure that they do it? You know how many men and women from Mount Vernon I have raised in a jail? Like, are you kidding me?
I heard you and other Black correction officers said that so many kids have come up to you and said you was a father figure to me. Like they had to go to jail to find a father figure. Like they didn't have a father figure in their life all their life until they went to jail. When I heard that, it blew my mind that kids are thanking you for being a father, you, the correction officer, for being a father figure to them.
Yo, AJ, you witness it out on the street when I see these young men.
Absolutely. There's so many times
and how they treat me like I'm their damn father.
There's so many times I've seen from here to Greenberg, everywhere. I've seen brothers walk up to me and Damon, they speak to him, and I'm thinking that's somebody from his past or like somebody, his boy's son or something. He'd be like, nah, he was locked up. And they come up to him like, I mean, like with love and reverence, like, and I'd be like, yo, and he'd be like, and he always say, yep, he was locked up. You know, it's a shame that the only father figure they had was a correction officer. And going to the gang thing, and this goes far out of Mount Vernon, and I covered a lot of stuff with the LA riots and the gangs out there. Yo, a lot of these people were looking for love and acceptance, and the love and acceptance and feeling of family that they only got was from a gang on their block. And they joined those, some of them joined those gangs for that, and that's a shame. And they're not getting that in the house, that they're getting that from a gang. And we complain
Right.
about gangs. We complaining about gangs, and we need to be stepping up. I mean, shout to the fathers that's holding it down. Shout to the men who are raising somebody else's child. Yo, but it's that when I was growing up, they said it takes a village. You know what I'm saying? I had my father and my mother, but there was also a bunch of other people in my life as well. You know what I'm saying? It takes a village. So even if you don't have kids and your family, there's kids in your neighborhood. Some people. Not only is Damon a father figure, it's usually if it's not Damon, it's a basketball coach or a football coach or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I just wanted to say that. Sandy from the Boys and Girls Club said, "I salute Damon for the goodness of being and able to see the humanity in others, especially kids." Assisi Council said, "We need more mentorship." Someone said, "Damon, that's sad about them seeing you as a father figure. They had no other father figure." Um, Marvin said, Marvin Church said, "Let's talk about putting teaching children about advocating for themselves in a healthy way. Make that part of the school curriculum because it's not being taught uniformly at home." Uh,
Absolutely.
another listener saying, "Yes, there is something to be said that the empire building of House of Worships in Mount Vernon, while the community continues to exhibit signs of spiritual immaturity, stagnancy, and brokenness. This is a disappointing and repairable thing." You know, I don't want to put it all on black pastors. All of us need to step up. But I'm saying, and this is to all the black pastors, and this is AJ speaking, you are the spiritual leaders of the community. This community needs spiritual healing. We need you to be the spiritual leaders of this community. We need you to step up into your role. You have a role to play. You know what I'm saying? And we need you. We look to you. We need you. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear me frustrated that y'all don't come out and do enough, it's not just a criticism. It's we need it. You know what I'm saying? So, I just had to put that out there. But this situation we're talking about, these girls, man, this wasn't like I said, the tragedy of Shamoya was it was two gangs fighting, and she was an innocent bystander caught in the middle. This was actually a teenage girl who was targeted by another teenage girl who killed her and and seriously wounded another one, while her aunt drove her around and circled back to the spot to get her. The young lady, she was arrested that night, and the aunt has just been arrested as an accessory to the crime. Um, and I think that's rightfully so. Assisi said, and parents need to be held accountable and become more involved. Listen, a lot of us murdered. Yes, murdered. Yes, murdered. The young girl was murdered. A lot of us, a lot of us, we know the problem children in our community and some in our household. Again, for y'all who just tuned in, Damon is driving. He's is going in and out of cell service, so he pops in and pops out. When he gets better connected, he will be back. So, and we're addressing the situation that happened Friday where the young teenage girl was fatally stabbed, and another one was wounded, seriously wounded. And what was supposed to be a celebration of the Mount Vernon men's basketball team winning its 12th state champion. This was supposed to be a celebration. We were supposed to be highlighting the achievement of our young men who won another state championship. And this tragically turned wrong because of a feud between two groups of girls that the school knew about, that the coach knew about, that the Board of Education knew about, that the principals knew about, that nobody basically did anything. And I say this because I've been getting calls for a while about this. I got a call last week telling me that something was going to seriously happen and nobody was going to pay attention to something seriously happen. And that was less than a week ago. And here we are. And we're talking about it, unfortunately, because it was two teenage girls. I don't know if everybody's as outraged if it was two teenage boys. And yo, this has to be a moment. Damon was saying this earlier. I'm tired, and we talked about Pastor Wheeler. I'm tired of us, having to go because a lot of people say stuff, but Damon and I get the phone calls. Pastor Wheeler, Henry Terry, and Jesse Van Loo, we get the phone calls. We consult these families. We talk to the families. We hear the stories, and their fight for justice for their loved one. And it's like, yo, I'm tired of continuing to have the same conversation. I'm tired of having big forums with Henry Terry and Jesse Van Loo and all of them telling everyone else to get involved. And we're here again in a situation that could have been prevented. It could have been prevented. Please email AJ. Says thank you. Okay. Gio, I got that. I will definitely hit you when I get off. Rue Gardner said the aunt needs to be arrested for cheering. Honeys, the aunt was arrested either earlier today or last night as an accessory. I got a call that the aunt was arrested for being an accessory. Because from what I was told, the aunt passed the girls and the aunt circled back around. And some people said it's on video. Now, I haven't seen all the videos, but somebody says on video where the aunt saying, "Go get her," like she sicked her on her, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if any of that is true. Yes, she absolutely should be arrested as an accessory. It wasn't just two; it was too many. I think there was a big fight. And those are the people that got stabbed, but there was a big fight. I'm still putting the pieces together. I'm still getting a lot of calls. Darlene says we need to tackle the root cause. A lot of things can be identified at school. Then we need mentoring programs to really help these young people understand and make better choices using credible messages as necessary. I absolutely agree. Shout out to Lowe's Moore, just tuned in. I know he has personally been doing a lot of work with the youth. We need, we can't count on Snug for everything. We need to support them. We can't count on Jesse Van Loo and Save Mount Vernon for everything. You can't count on Black Westchester for everything. We all need to stand up and step up, because it's only going to get worse. This is not going to get better. It is not officially summer yet. It has not officially got hot yet. When the mercury goes up, the guns go up, the gunshots go up. You know what I'm saying? Traditionally, we having all of this happen, and this is springtime. It's the beginning of spring. It's not even hot yet. And if we don't address this particular situation, what my fear is, and a lot of people in the community's fear is the retaliation. Yo, you the one that stabbed my cousin, and back and forth, and then we got this going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a one-off thing. You know what I'm saying? And we have to step up. I'm sitting here. I was having a conversation earlier. I felt bad celebrating getting an award for community service award on Friday when I felt like I should probably be out there doing something. You know what I'm saying? And people like, no, you do what you can do. But I felt bad. Like I felt like I need to do more. And I'm out there. Damon's out there. A lot of people I'm seeing that are complaining on Facebook, I don't see you out there. Some of you may be, and I just don't see you, but a lot of y'all are not there. We need more than complaining on Facebook. This is a tragedy. It's time to take the community back. You say you don't want more policing in your community. So what? So what? Some people talking about this whole defund the police thing. We can't police our own community.
how you gonna
We can't.
talk about defund the police and you ain't protecting your community yourself, right? The Irish community can say that, the Italian community can say that, the Asian community can say that, the Jewish community can say that, but black people can't say that. Well, I don't know why we sitting here talking about defund the police because we ain't policing our communities ourselves. So if you ain't gonna do.
Okay. Again, Damon is driving and we losing him in and out. So bear with us. We just wanted to come out and address this because our phones have been blowing up. And I felt like we needed to have this conversation. Like I said, Damon is running some errands and stuff and doing some stuff, and we trying to get this in. He said, watch people just stand around and do nothing just hurts. Oh, watching people, absolutely. Our community needs more police and school safety officers. Yeah, so that's the other thing. I'm not really sure what's going on with the school safety officers. I know at some point the mayor said that the school district should pay for it. I know I made a bunch of calls to Superintendent Kenneth Hamilton, and he said he was reaching out to the mayor to find out how much it would cost, and she never got back to him. I don't know what the problem is. I'm not sitting here throwing shade on anybody, but the school district, the police department, and city hall need to get together and figure out what it's going to take and who needs to do what. So we need those. We seriously need those school, them safety officers, them SROs. I think they are school resource officers. And y'all need to figure out how we're gonna pay for it. We pay for things. Listen, not having them is going to cost us more. So let's not talk about we don't have the money. Not having them is going to cost us more. That is a fact. So however it got to be paid for, it needs to be paid for. If it needs to be the school district needs to step up and pay for part of it or all of it, then that needs to be done. Then they need to be told how much it needs to be paid, and then we need to get that going right now. Taxes, they get at least $66 million. They aren't buying books. Staff is at an all-time low. Where is the money going? I mean, that's a question that has been coming up a lot about the money. And there's a lot of people complaining about that. Like I said, there's two things going on tomorrow. The Boys and Girls Club, I don't know if they're sponsoring it themselves, but there is going to be a yes on. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of a text right now. I'm trying to answer. People are hearing about the show, wondering can they where they can see it at. Let me see if I can pull up this flyer. I know I just sent it to a few people, but also so there's secondly there's a group of stakeholders that are meeting tomorrow. I don't have I think around 4:30. And I think from that meeting, the community leaders are going to be meeting, and from that meeting, they are going to protest, have some sort of protest outside of the Board of Education tomorrow. When I get the time or whatever, I will be there with the camera to cover that, to hear the concerns and shed some light on what they're doing. And again, there's let me see if I can find the flyer real quick. Apologize. Somebody just asked me. Here it goes. Okay, so tomorrow at 4:30, make the resolution. Violence is not a solution. It's a walk for Kayla. Kayla is the young lady who died, who was murdered. Calling all Mount Vernon students, join us on a peaceful protest rally to condemn violence in the recent heinous stabbing of a young Mount Vernon girl and her brave friend. It's tomorrow, Monday, April 11th at 4:30. They're going to meet at the Boys and Girls Club, 350 South 6th Avenue. I think they're going to march around the city. I'm not sure. Sandy, if she's still on, you can tell me where they're going to march. GOB says, shout to Henry George, Jesse Van Loo, Snug, Brother Ali, Stiff, Damon K. Jones, looking for Jamal Bowman and Jamal Bailey. Let's all have a roundtable. Does anyone have the congressman's contact information? Geo, actually, I do. And I reached out. Um, I can do one better for you, Geo. I can put him on camera. Hold on. Let's make that happen. How about that? How about that? Hold on. Let me send him the link. Let me send him the link. Yep. So Gio, Georgie B, we about to hear from the congressman personally. You said, does anyone have his contact information? I'm gonna do better than call him. I'm putting him on camera and letting him address it. And any questions y'all want to ask the congressman, y'all can put in the title in the comment section. Again, Damon's in and out because he's running errands and he's driving, so his Wi-Fi is not the. I mean, he's having Wi-Fi issues. So he will be back whenever he can get to a spot. Um, this summer, environmental leaders of color will include healthy advocacy sessions for our teens at 6 sites. 2 sites will be in Mount Vernon. Please send me that information so I can share it. Another comment said, our taxes alone can pay for staff members. Shaking my head. At this point, I'm keep it real. I'm not going to blame the mayor. I'm not ready to blame the superintendent. What I'm saying is everybody need to get it together and make it happen. I don't care how it has to happen. I don't care how it has to be paid for. The fact is it will cost us and is costing us more not having them there. So, get together and make it and work it out. I mean, taxes are going up. I mean, my sister lives in Virginia, and there's one thing she always say: her taxes are going up and her taxes are high. But every time she leaves her house, she can see her tax dollars at work. People don't mind paying higher taxes when they see their tax dollars at work. When you're paying higher taxes and you're not seeing the services, and in some cases seeing less services, that's when you have the problem. Why are you raising our taxes? We can't get our potholes done. We can't get programs for our youth. We can't get SROs in our school. Why are the taxes going up? Again, people don't mind paying a higher tax when you see your tax dollars at work. You'll complain, oh man, that's another 10%. But when you walk out and you see your roads are paved and you see better behavior in school because we got SROs and some of these other things are funded that we need, you know what? While it might be an inconvenience and while it may cost a little bit more, you see your tax dollars at work. You know what I'm saying? Thanks. I'm here looking forward to speaking with Jamal Bowman. Yes, we're just waiting for him to sign in. No, we live now. Waiting for you. We live now. Waiting for you, my brother. Yeah. So anybody else got any comments while we wait for the congressman? While Damon's in and out. Lowesmore says correct. Me and Lowe, we had a Richard Thomas when he was councilman had like a symposium for the youth or something, and I had asked the question. We keep talking about what the youth are looking for, what the youth need. And I said, and I asked them themselves, and I think Lowe's had made a comment. He said we got to stop rewarding them for bad behavior. Um, I agree with that 100%. Um, but maybe sometimes we need to entice them to be good. So we were going. I remember we had a conversation. I don't know if you remember that conversation, Lo. We had a conversation in the parking lot afterwards. But I'm with whatever as long as it works. Whatever's being done now is obviously not working, and it is getting worse. Again, Snug can't do it all on the street. Oh, he said I do remember that conversation. Snug can't do it all on the street. Save Mount Vernon can't do it all. Black Westchester can't cover it all and shed light on it and everything. The Boys and Girls Club can't house all the kids that need to be housed. We need more. Lowe's, you remember we had what? We had two boys clubs and two YMCA's, and we had youth ministries at the churches, and I remember going to Yankee games and do ranches and stuff with Grace Baptist Church. I wouldn't even remember the church when I was going with their youth ministry. I remember going, and in the Rochelle, my family belonged to Bethesda and Shiloh, and I used to go to a lot of stuff with their youth ministries and take me all kinds of places. I wouldn't even remember neither one of those churches, but my family was. But doing those things kept me from being on the street every day. Every day. You know what I'm saying? And the Grace had a youth. They had a building where I think where Ernie's building is. There was like a youth. The youth ministry used to meet there. They had pool tables and everything. We could gather there. It was a safe space for us to be. You know what I'm saying? The youth minister was there, and we had those things. We need more. We need those things now. Lowe's Moore said yes. Uh, Also, whatever is being done now or not is just sitting on tops of decades of at least of unhealed trauma and dysfunction. Um, because you didn't leave that comment on my page, I'm not able to see who the user's name is. But I totally agree. We have to. I was reading a study where kids in our communities, the things that they got to go through with the senseless gun violence and the violence in high school, and just trying to make it back and forth safely to the store, you know and constantly seeing their peers dying leaves them at a state almost equivalent of a soldier in war. And we're talking about young minds that haven't developed yet. We're not dealing with the trauma and the dysfunction in our community. This is not to blame anybody. There's blame to go around all around. You know what I'm saying? We have to, and mental health is an issue in our community, and we are not addressing this. I don't know if the schools, I think the schools might be closed this week for Easter or something like that, but they need to have some youth counselors. There's some kids that's hurting over this right now. They need to be somewhere for them to go. I know the mayor had some of them there yesterday to have, a safe place, but there was, how many can go there? We need youth. We need people, places to open their doors right now. The schools should probably be doing a little bit more of this, opening the doors right now, having some youth counselors or whatever, speaking to these kids to help them heal, because this happens. And then the next situation happens. And then the next situation happens. And people getting jumped and everything in school. And then you see all of this stuff, and it's just like constantly happening over and over, and there's no healing, and nobody's dealing with the trauma of these youth. We okay, so the young lady who did it, she got arrested, and her aunt got arrested. When are we going to start dealing with the problem, at the root of the problem, to be able to stop these situations from happening? Lowe's Moore, I agree, we need a paradigm shift. Absolutely. Ken Bright said exactly, AJ, even amongst our adults. And let me just say, over the last few years, We've been seeing what I have named the city civil war in City Hall. Yo, we can't expect our kids to stop gang banging when they see our politicians and our leaders do adult gang banging against each other, trying to take each other out. Yo, where you think they learning this from? The adults don't know how to behave. They are actually trying to take each other out permanently in these elections and amongst the city council and the mayor and the comptroller and whoever else. And we got all these adults fighting and it's being played out on News 12 and social media. How you expect the kids to stop gang banging when the adults can't do it? When they see the adults. And we had a while ago, we had a bunch of kids get together and they had the Four Square Peace Project, right? And they basically was like, pray for my city. They dropped a single. I was like, yo, these were all current and former gangbangers, opposite former people of different gangs together, and they, because of all the killing, they got together to record this project. Over 41 of our youth calling for a stop to this. I was like, yo, they showing the adults how it should be done. We got people that had steady beef with each other at the time, making records together. And the whole time, shout to all the people involved in that project. I know Tony Old School Mitchell was involved, and I forgot some of the other people involved. But the whole time they was involved wasn't a killing in the street, because the ones doing it was calling for an end to it. They were more effective than the adults. Now, they didn't last. We're still back at it again. But Ken Bright, consistency is needed. Consistency is the key word of the day. Yo, you want to get involved with these kids, it can't be today and tomorrow, and then you're not there the next day. These kids, you got to be consistent in their lives. You got to be consistent with these programs. I agree. Lowe's Moore, what did you say? The superintendent just shared on the resource that are available to students, parents, and administrators. Yes, Lowe's, if you can you forward that to me because I would like to share that so more people will see it. Yes, we need the school districts, we need our churches, and we need other organizations to step up right now, because these kids need to heal. They need to be we need to be dealing with their trauma, and expecting them to figure it out on their own is not working. It's not working. They relate to them the music of the age. Yeah. CZ Council, I agree. Like, I had interviewed them and I said, yo, what was crazy is y'all are speaking to your age group in a way, you're speaking to them in a way that resonates to them. And it did for a minute. Everybody went their own ways. Shout to Capella Gray. He's one of the hottest selling artists out there now, commercial artists out there now. He was one of the conductors of that project, putting it together and bringing everybody together. They dedicated a song to Junior, and Junior's dad sang on the CD. Word. I'm about to pull that CD out later and just listen to it again, because we need to hear that again. Yes, you're competing with the streets and negative media. We need to bring them in. We talk about credible messengers like Snug, people that have been in the system, been in the gang, came out to tell these kids that's not the way to go. But we need to reach some of these kids so they can help reach the rest of these kids in a way that they're not hearing from me or some of the others. You understand what I'm saying? And yes, we need to hit this from all sides. This is not a one size fit all problem. We need to be dealing with the mental health, the trauma, the dysfunction. We need to be dealing with the lack of SROs and stuff like that in the school. We need to be dealing with programs. We need to be. Damon was saying this before. He hasn't come back. I guess he's not. He wasn't able to come back. He was talking about all our kids are not going to be college bound. We need to be teaching them trades so they can leave school ready for work with skills, that they don't have to have entry level jobs for the rest of their lives, that they have trade, that there's a career. A mechanic is a career. You know what I'm saying? And now we got a lot of other things going on with the technology. We need to be getting our kids taught on this tech. And these kids can play PlayStation and all of that every day, all day. They can be some of our tech leaders of tomorrow if we teach them and give them the skills. We have to find a way. Bottom line is, we need to do it now. There's no more time to kick the can down the road. There's no more time to wait. It will only get worse. The time is now. You see what? Wait, one more time. He asked for a link. I'm gonna see. Are you coming? Want to get a couple of words from you before we log off. So Stephanie Swan, exactly. If your politicians are not role models for your city by bickering live on Facebook, the kids see this. They believe all verbal disputes should be handled dysfunctionally. I will try. Our regular show starts at 6. Dr. Bob is hosting the show. They're going to be dealing with environmental justice, I believe. I think that's the topic. There'll be. I will try to call you. Hit me, Gio. Email me at blackwestchester@gmail.com. I'm going to be on a Zoom meeting at 3. Okay. Yes. Yeah, email me, and this way I'll see it once I get off of here, and I won't have to go back to the comments. Just email me your number, and I will try to give you a call at 3. But it's time to do something. It's time to step up. I need to hear from I need to hear from our stakeholders and our leaders in the community. We need to get together and formulate a plan, and we need to do it now. We can't put everything. No, not at Westchester, Black Westchester. blackwestchester@gmail.com. At gmail.com. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. We need to come together. I ask all of y'all to share this so other people see it. And without further ado, for those who waiting, a couple of people asked me, we need to hear from our congressman. And Gio said, hey, do you have the congressman's number? I said, I can do better. I can put him on the screen. So just so you know, Damon and I, Damon's driving, so he's in and out. Damon and I decided to get on. We were getting a bunch of calls about the tragic situation that happened Friday. I understand the young lady who did the stabbing, she was arrested that day, and the aunt who actually drove her, saw the girls and circled back around so she could get the girl. She was also arrested as an accessory either late last night or today. I just got the call. One young lady was stabbed 7 times. She died from her injuries on the way to Jacoby. The other one was stabbed 17 times. She actually lived. The city is hurting, and we need some healing right now. And I'm going to give you a few minutes to say whatever you want. One of my listeners said, welcome, Congressman Bowman. Good afternoon, Congressman.
Peace, brother. Good to be with you. Thank you, as always, for creating spaces like this for us to have these conversations. It's really, really essential and really important. As you talk about healing, talking and dialogue is part of the healing process. So thank you for doing that. First of all, deepest condolences to the family and friends of the young woman who was killed. It's the whole city is hurting. The district is hurting. The state is hurting, quite frankly. And anyone, I've shared this nationally as well, because I want to continue to bring attention to what's happening in Mount Vernon and places like Mount Vernon across the country. Like, I know national media and even local media is continuously focused on what's going on in the Ukraine. And I get it, I understand. But, on the same day this young lady was murdered in Mount Vernon, a 16-year-old in the South Bronx was hit with a stray bullet and killed. So we're in a crisis, man. We're in a crisis of violence, a crisis with our children, a trauma crisis, a mental health crisis, a substance use disorder crisis. There's so much happening in our communities that we're not talking about. We're starting at the end of the conversation, right? Like, was the person arrested? Was everyone involved arrested? And absolutely, there needs to be accountability. No question about that. We also have to have the conversation about what needs to happen on the front end so children are not killed in the first place. And being a former middle school principal and always the educator, I'm always looking at our kids and what's happening with them from an educator perspective. And, I'm always wondering, what did we know beforehand, before the incident? And how could we have intervened so that this young woman is alive with us today? As adults, as kids, as people, what more could we have done? And why does the cycle of violence continue to persist in certain communities, right? Like, what is the connection between the cycle of violence, trauma, poverty, and everything surrounding that? Like, we cannot, we often have these conversations in a vacuum. We talk about the individual. This one individual did a horrible thing. They killed someone, right? That individual was bad. That individual needs to be punished. But the issue is systemic. AJ, you and I have never talked about this, what I'm about to bring up right now, but I can almost say for a fact, someone at some point in your life that's been murdered. I can almost say for a fact, someone, more than one person that's been murdered personally. You know them personally. And you and I have never talked about that. You know why I know that? Because I know the community that you come from. And in communities where you and I come from, that's the reality. I also know multiple people who have been killed. When I was in, we ran into each other yesterday at City Hall, talking about ending qualified immunity, and other issues. But I was there because I wanted to, connect with the mayor, and her and I have been talking back and forth for the last couple of days. But I also wanted to connect with the kids, right? Just to get a sense of, what they're going through, how they're feeling, introduce myself formally, because maybe they didn't know who I was. So I want to make sure, I begin to engage personally. I want to engage more with our youth more directly. And that was good. So, but, a couple of young ladies called me over and they said they had a concern. One was 18. They both were 17. One's about to be 18. And the issue they brought up was the fact that Mount Vernon Hospital doesn't have a trauma unit. And they were saying, and these are teenagers in high school, and they were saying, this young lady's life could have been saved, many other people that they know, lives could have been saved if Mount Vernon Hospital has a trauma unit. That is unconscionable that Mount Vernon Hospital does not have a trauma unit.
I want to interrupt you real quick. We've been fighting that. I'm part of
the. I know, but now
this is not the first person who's died.
Correct.
They had to be transferred somewhere else And
Yo, Mount
there's no
Vernon.
guarantee they would have been saved, but there's a better chance that they would have been saved if Mount Vernon had a trauma unit. They may still be alive.
In terms of per capita gun violence, Mount Vernon has some of the highest. It needs a trauma unit. You know, and the last thing I'll say is, and I'm sorry for just, you know, talking too long, but this needs a whole of government approach and a whole community approach. And what do I mean by that? Federal government, state government, county government, and local government has to work together to make sure our kids are safe and protected and put in a position to thrive. One of my biggest frustrations since I got to Congress, we don't talk enough about our kids. And you don't have a society or democracy if you don't take care of your children. I don't care, you know, about the economy and Wall Street and how much money we make, this and that. We're not taking care of our kids. We're failing as a society. So we need a whole government approach, but we also need a whole community approach, right? So activists, organizers, educators, other people in the community working collaboratively to make sure our kids are safe, secure, properly fed and housed, having their needs met, whether it's through education, mental health, or what have you, and so that we could put them in a position to thrive. There's no time for finger pointing, blame game, he said, she said, none of that. How do we, let's come together, really understand what the problem is, and really work together to identify the gaps, close them, and come up with solutions to these problems, because she should not be gone. The one who killed her, now their life is over at the very least, changed forever in a bad way. And so there's a lot to do. And I'm ready to roll up my sleeve and get to work. And thank you again for having this space.
I want to thank you too I know you came to Mount Vernon specifically for like a food drive or a pantry, like food pantry giveaway or something, and you saw the need and you made yourself available at City Hall to, you know, be there for the youth that were there, that showed up. And, you know, I kind of popped up on you with two other people, and you made yourself available for that too. And I thank you. And again, we're doing this, and you made yourself available. I say this, I'm not into like really endorsing candidates before people make ballots and all that stuff. I'm just saying we got elections coming up. Look at the people who are making themselves available for this stuff. Look at the people who's there. That's what I'm saying. People make your own decisions, but everybody's not there right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? We need to be watching the people that are there, even when they're not running. They're making themselves available for these things. So, and we need to be calling on those elected officials who ain't making themselves available, that are sitting in seats right now, that need to be addressing this, because we need to hear from leadership. We need to hear from our Black pastors. We need to hear from the heads of the school district. We need to hear from our leadership and our stakeholders and everybody. It's time for everybody.
When I was Friday. Friday was just a crazy day overall. So I flew back to DC to be present for the swearing in of the first African American woman to be selected as a Supreme Court justice. I flew back to DC for that in the morning. So I'm there, AJ, at the White House on the front lawn with so many other people, just soaking in this history. This was history, right? This is like, kids are going to be reading about this in textbooks. So I'm there just soaking it in. Judge Jackson gave an incredible speech.
Absolutely.
Everyone should go find and listen to from beginning to end. I posted some of it on my social. So I'm there, and after I left, I just felt like I felt elevated. You know, I felt like this was like I just felt like my spirit taken over by this incredible moment in history. So then I head to the airport, and I was supposed to get back to be at the event with you, to recognize you and celebrate you that night, the MPAC event.
Right.
And my first flight, I don't get to it. I miss it because the event went too long at the White House. So I got another flight that's supposed to fly into Newark. It was delayed to the point where I think the flight ended up leaving 12:30 midnight. By that time, I left the airport and went home. So I couldn't get back to celebrate with you. So I'm on the plane, and I'm texting with the superintendent, informing him that we have a federal grant process happening right now. It's called appropriations. So I wanted to let him know, like, just ping him, like, it's happening, get the application in, because I want to do something specifically for Mount Vernon High School. And I forget what I think it said Mount Vernon High School. I think I might have just left it at that. Anyway, he hits me back and he was like, yes, we'll get on it. I'm sorry, I'm dealing with a girl that just got killed, a student that just got killed. I'm like, what? So I text other people that I know, Snug, Henry Terry, others, like, yo, what happened? Anybody got info on this? What happened? And they tell me the story, and they send me the video of the brawl that happened right in front of our office. Like, my office is on 6 Gramerton.
Right.
It's pretty much right there. And I see the girl wielding the knife, and I'm just like, when I'm overwhelmed, I breathe, and then I write just a reflection on what's happening. I mean, that moment in and of itself is overwhelming. But I was like, yo, to be Black in America is what came to mind. And it was like, you celebrate the highest of highs. Ketanji Brown Jackson, chosen to be our next Supreme Court justice, Black woman, first Black woman ever. And back home in our district, a Black girl gets murdered. And that is our reality, man. And
I'm on the way to be honored, and I'm getting dressed, and I'm getting the phone call.
Yeah, man.
And it's on the way there, and I'm getting inundated with phone calls and videos, and I'm like, I don't even feel like I want to be in the festive moment of being. I'm like, why am I here being honored? Like, I should be out doing something. Yeah. I felt guilty for like being there in Yonkers being honored and not out on the block. So I was like, I felt some kind of way. Like,
yeah. It was crazy, man. And for me, I'm almost 2 years in office now. And I did so just in 2 years, right? And again, it's COVID. It's another thing we're not talking enough about. COVID's impact on mental health. Now, the Surgeon General of the United States identified that we have a mental health crisis with our kids. So that was called out in December. But again, we're not putting the resources behind it. But when you look at my tenure, and I just got in office, in Yonkers, there have been multiple incidents of violence. One that sticks out, and one was early in my tenure, was a 15-year-old girl who OD'd on fentanyl, right? So that was the beginning of my tenure. Not shortly thereafter, 17-year-old boy shot and killed outside of Vanda High School, also in the district. Again, the Northeast Bronx part, a lot of issues there, gun violence and other things, right? Mount Vernon, there have been multiple incidents, but now we have a 15-year-old girl. New Rochelle, 16-year-old girl killed by a 15-year-old girl. New Rochelle, 16-year-old boy killed by a 16-year-old boy, ghost gun. There was an issue in Rye as well with a student. Dead. Multiple children have been killed or died since I've been in office. And I ran for office because of this. It's obviously a priority of our office, but we need it to be a priority of the President of the United States, Governor Hochul, Mayor Adams, and every mayor in the district, because this is not a bad apple situation. It's a systemic problem that's connected to poverty, trauma, mental health, substance abuse, etc., etc., etc. When you grow up in a center in a community that has been neglected and a community that has been the victim of policy violence, I want to say that again. These are communities that have been the victim of policy violence. Black and brown communities have been neglected on purpose. Big money hasn't come to our communities. It's been taken away, and our communities have been redlined. Our schools are underfunded, etc., etc., etc. So a lot of work to do. Let's be honest about how we got here, and let's come together to get it figured out, because we got to protect our babies, man. They're the ones that are gonna save us and save the country and save the planet. And they're waiting, man. They're waiting. They are yearning for transformative change, man. We just all got to be about it together.
Absolutely. I thank you for your time, my brother. And we need you from the federal level. You know what I'm saying? To do whatever it is that you can do. I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? And again. Go ahead.
So let me yeah. So thank you for saying that, right? Because I am a member of the House of Representatives, right? So my bully pulpit, my advocacy, my legislation, all that matters, right? The policy I introduce, how I work locally, how I work with the White House, the Senate, all matters. What happens in the Senate, man, matters too. And we have the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, in our state. So it's really important for Senator Schumer to consistently hear from the people of Mount Vernon, Yonkers, New Rochelle, all throughout Westchester around these issues. And Senator Schumer is with it. Like, he cares about this stuff. But he has to hear more from us, because he decides how things move in the Senate. We could pass legislation in the House, and we often pass great legislation. But the Senate got to move it too. But even if the Senate doesn't move it, I'm going to work. I've been working with the White House because the president can implement executive action on certain issues. And as a matter of fact, I'm flying to Washington tomorrow to be there because the president's making a big announcement with regard to gun violence. And I think it's going to be a good one. Now, this announcement's coming after we wrote a letter to him outlining like 6 or 7 things he can do through executive action on gun violence, and on the heels of us writing a letter to Mitch McConnell, where we got over 50 of our colleagues to sign, so that he can move on HR 8, which is a common gun violence legislation. But it's not just gun violence, as we know, it's all violence. And please, everyone, I'll leave you with this. Look at the federal budget, and we'll share it with you. Look at how much we spend on our military, and not on veterans, on weapons, because veterans are still struggling to get what they need when they come home, right? So we should be spending more on veterans than we do on weapons, and we spend it all on weapons, right? So look at how much we spend on the military. Look how much we spend on jails. And remember, jails are an after-the-fact intervention. They're not on the front end. And look at and compare those numbers to how much we spend on Black businesses, education, mental health, and the areas that we know are needed the most. That happens at the federal level. That happens on the state level. The state budget that just came out, the Department of Education, New York State, requested 168 staff members so they could run as a fully functioning education department. You know how many staff members they got in the state budget? Zero. So if we're not valuing education and mental health and substance abuse and poverty and housing security and trauma and food security, if we don't invest there, then we're going to continue to see the cycle of violence that we see. So we need, for the people who watch your show and to listen and engage, beyond the state, beyond the county, beyond the feds, to be like, yo, why are we spending here and not in here? And that's why we continue to see it. Our budgets are a reflection of our values. And we value money and the bottom line, money. But we create blood sport capitalism where people kill each other to make a little money and get a little recognition and fame, but our kids are dying in the street. So enough is enough.
Thank you, my brother. I'm not going to hold you. I know you got other things to do, but I thank you. You saw that we were on. You hit me, right away. And I mean, I appreciate that.
Peace and love, man. Be well, and let's stick together. Everyone, let's stick together, man. We're gonna. There are solutions. There are solutions. So don't let anyone say there's no solutions. I know it's overwhelming. There's solutions. Let's stick together, man. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace.
All right.
We thank you for Congressman Bowman. And he saw all the posts that I was sharing on social media that Damon and I were live. Damon had problems, Wi-Fi problems. He was driving and he wasn't able to come back on. But Damon is the one who pushed. We need to do this right now. We need to do this today. So we held this down for a little while. We're addressing that situation. I did send a link to a few other stakeholders in the community if they want to come on briefly. If not, I'm not going to be holding you too much longer. I thank everybody for tuning in. But the bottom line is we all need to step up, and we all need to step up now. We need to do our part. Shout out to Reverend Jeffrey Wheeler, who's at the house now praying with the family. We need spiritual healing as well. We seriously need spiritual healing and guidance from our spiritual leaders in this community. We cannot heal without that. All the legislation and moves in City Hall and whatever else does not work without that. So it's not a one-prong issue. It's not a one-size-fit-all solution. We need that spiritual healing. We need the schools and the City Hall and everybody to get together with the SROs and the school district. We need our community leaders to step up and say enough. Let me just say, it is not summertime yet. Things are going to get worse. I do not mean to alarm you or put dog whistles out there. I am doing this because we are in crisis right now. The community is hurting right now. How many more situations do we have to go through before we continue to have these conversations? Now, I heard Brenda Crump said that the superintendent had a video yesterday. I know the mayor did something yesterday. I know the Boys and Girls Club are doing something tomorrow. I know other stakeholders. You know what? And all of those things are great. Then at some point we need to not stop doing all these things in a vacuum, and we need to start working together. And we need to come together for the common cause of saving our children and ending the senseless violence in our community. And yes, I'm talking about Mount Vernon specifically, but this is not a Mount Vernon problem. This is going on in Yonkers. This is going on everywhere. The senseless violence in our community that's killing our youth, our future leaders. I want you to know that, our greatest resource for the future. Stephanie said, thank you, AJ, for a much needed conversation now. Sabrina L. Gray said, thanks. Yes, thank you for doing this. Gail Baxter in Yonkers said, we must continue to reach out personally on a one-on-one basis. The message out there is not working, period, full stop. We must meet them where they are. Yes, it's something Brenda always says too. We need to meet the youth where they are, and we have Lowe's more. Thank you for tuning in. I know you have a show to prepare for too. And for everybody who's here and everybody who's going to watch this later, I'm available for whatever part I can play and bringing us together or coming together for some solutions and then some actions. I'm available. I will make myself available. Where I need to shed light on some situations, I will shed light on some situations. Where I need to put that out like that. But I'm available for the meetings. Yes, Brenda Crump, counseling is available. The Mount Vernon Police Department Wellness Division and Mount Vernon, the city of Mount Vernon, are working together with the Mount Vernon School District, victims, families, and friends in real time during this active investigation, where we'll be providing crisis counseling and support to involve to involved to all involved, I guess. Hold on, I lost my place. To those involved and impacted by this senseless tragedy, Mount Vernon School District will provide counseling at Mount Vernon High School Saturday, Sunday, Monday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Community based. Can you, Brenda, please email me that information so I can blast it out or on social media as well? Yes, Gio, I will contact you. Thank you for tuning in, Marion Wilson Spencer. I'm just going to be a few more minutes. It's been 95 minutes. That's more than enough. But I just really, and I apologize. Like I said, Damon is traveling. Damon had so much more he wanted to say, but he was on his phone, and every time either he hit a bad area or he get a phone call and get knocked off. So, it didn't work. He didn't come back. He's in the middle of something right now. But, yeah, man, we're here. It's time to put the work in. It's time to stop talking about it and be about it. Our kids need us. They had a forum for the youth at I think at Reverend Wheeler's church. And I know I talked to one young man off to the side, privately, and he pulled me to the side and was like, yo, he told me he has a gun. He's a good kid. He didn't have it on him then. And he said he doesn't want a gun, but everybody else has one. And he's scared to be in the street without one. Yo, that kind of shook me. Then another part of the thing they were telling the kids, if they see something that they should speak up. And the kids stood up. When the kids up, they were stood up and said, yeah, listen, y'all are the very ones that telling us stay away from these crazy dudes with the guns and the drugs and all that. Yo, we kind of scared of them too. If they're not listening to you, to the adults, what are you expecting us to say to them? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, it's real out there. It is not a game in these streets. And we are losing future lawyers, doctors, leaders, community leaders. Who knows what some of these kids could turn around and be. And just because they got a bad path right now, look at Malcolm X. Malcolm X was in and out of jail and in criminal life, and found Allah. It was the Nation of Islam for him, and became a very vital leader in his adulthood. Imagine if he had got killed at Detroit Red as that dude. We wouldn't have never had that. So even people who we look at as problem people sometimes, those are some of the people that when they get it together, we need. And those are our leaders, and those are the ones that can reach these youth because they've been in situations that these youth are going through, and they've been in and out the system, and we need them. Yes, and no one wants to be a snitch. Yes, as far as the youth, yeah, snitches get stitches. Who wanna, seriously, like real talk. So, we can't expect the youth to police themselves. You know what I'm saying? And as the adults, we got adults scared of the youth, and we expect the youth to come and tell us what's going on. And half of y'all are scared of these kids. The adults, the leaders, half of y'all are scared of these kids. So it's time to step up and take our community back. This is a call to action. Please share this video. Even after I go off, please share it on your pages. Share it in your groups. Share it with your elected officials. To all elected officials that cover Mount Vernon, City Council, the mayor, Assemblyman, Pretlow, Jamal Bailey, our state senator, Jamal Bowman, our congressman, Biaggi, she's kind of on the north side for state senator, and everybody else who just covers this region. We need all of you right now. We need to put your differences away. We need you to get out of your own way, and we need you to come together. Our community leaders, you call yourself stakeholders and community leaders, we need you to step up and be the stakeholders and the community leaders and lead us. Our black pastors, especially, but clergy as a whole, we need you because we need spiritual healing. I'm not here to criticize you. I'm telling you, we need you. We cannot do this without you. And we all got to get together. Again, shout to Henry Terry from Snug. Shout to Jesse Van Loo from Save Mount Vernon. Usually when I have these, I have them on here. They're out in the streets. They're doing the work. I'm not bothering them. Me and Damon decided to do this today and just address it and start the conversation and further the conversation. And thank you for everybody who was a part of the conversation. And I'm about to get out of here. We got a show at 6 where we're dealing with, I think, environmental justice or something. Dr. Bob put that together. So anybody who wants to tune back in at 6 to check us out, but share this everywhere. Not just in Mount Vernon, share it around the county because I know a lot of y'all are dealing with it too. Share this in the black community. Share this. That's one of the things you can do. Share this. Anybody who wants to talk about this, anybody wants to contact me, blackwestchester@gmail.com. That is the email address, blackwestchester@gmail.com. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of these shows. We said what we said today. You want to talk, you want to meet, you want to talk, you got some solutions, you want to get with other people, whatever you want to do, I'm here for it. But it's going to take all of us. My condolences to the young lady who was killed, her whole family. My prayers with the young lady who was stabbed, lived her whole family. We actually had, it's affecting 3 families because, the girl who did it, her life is over. She's probably going to be convicted with all the video and picture evidence all over social media. Her family is going to be feeling that. The young lady the one who lost her life, her family will forever feel that. And, Congressman Jamal Bowman said, yes, blackwestchester@gmail.com. Yes, Stephanie. Congressman Jamal Bowman said something very important. We were celebrating the historical confirmation of the first African American female to serve on the Supreme Court. This should have been a day of celebration. Here locally, this event that led to this was supposed to be a celebration, and congratulations to the Mount Vernon High School basketball team, because this is overshadowing the major accomplishment y'all did to win, I believe it's the 12th state championship. But this is what we're talking about. This was a celebration for them. I was on my way to being honored by the Impact Mediterranean People and Community when all of this happened. There was things we should have been celebrating. And we're here talking about loss and death and murder and people going to jail. And this doesn't just affect these 3 families. This is affecting the whole community. And I'm glad that Brenda shared that information. Please, Brenda, email it to me. I'm glad that the school district is working with City Hall. I'm saying we need that. The pastors, the black pastors, you have youth in your congregations, and you need to be making yourself available for some spiritual healing to the trauma that these kids are feeling as well, because that's also needed. So I'd like to see some pastors get involved. Nas Duncan, my niece will never be the same. We will be getting her help. Her wounds will heal. Losing her best friend will live with her forever. You know, when we talk about this trauma, okay, so I'm going to go here too. So, Nas Duncan, she had a foundation called Mama I Am. She was sitting there consoling all the mothers who lost children to senseless violence. And guess what? Then her son gets senselessly killed by gets killed by senseless gun violence. Now she's sitting in the chair, the one who needs the comforting, the one who has been comforting everybody else, and is still a few years later dealing with the trauma and the effect and all of that is caused by the loss of her son, and now has the situation with her niece. And it is a compound, and I use this, she is one example of the families in Mount Vernon that these repeated situations are continuing to cause them trauma. Now, sometimes in a state of, what is it, PTSD? Did I say it right? Yo, like she was in a war or something from all of this, and now she's dealing with her niece. How many more people are like that? Their relatives and then their kids and somebody else they know, like Jamal Bowman said, like the congressman said. I believe everybody on here knows somebody who has lost somebody that's been murdered. Whether it's a family member, a classmate, it's just somebody they knew in their community. It's crazy. Gio said, my condolences to the family, the young sister that lost her life from the senseless act. God bless your family. Brenda Crump said, done. Info has been emailed to you about the available counseling. Thank you. Anybody else who has any resources that are available, organizations or whatever, that these youth can get some counseling, some healing, to help them deal with their trauma, please email blackwestchester@gmail.com, and I will put all of this stuff and I will put it out and we'll blast it out. You know what I'm saying? So we can continue to get the word. And let me keep it there. While we need that for our youth, we need that for some of our adults like Nas and some of the mothers and the aunts and, you know, some of the adults is going through trauma because of what's going on out here in these streets. So it's not just the youth. We need some counseling for some of the adults too. And that should be made available. And Nas, I ain't say that to put you out there. I know you tell your story often, but I was just giving that example. That's one example of someone I personally know who's had major loss and stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just one example of what we're dealing with here in the Black community and here in the city of Mount Vernon. Yep. For myself, for Damon K. Jones, this has been a special edition of the Black Westchester Power Hour. People Before Politics will be on at 6. I thank you all for tuning in. If you missed this, you can watch it afterwards on Facebook, or I will also be on blackwestchester.com where you can see and play it, and it's also on the Black Westchester YouTube page. So, let's see, I got one more comment. Always y'all have been one of the biggest supporters and always had my back all the time. And that's another thing. Even that someone can do, to have the back to stand with those who lost their loved ones. Sometimes you might not be the marching out front. You might not be that person, but just standing and comforting and letting these people that lost their loved ones know, you know, that they're not alone. Sometimes that goes a long way. So there's something everybody can do. I know I'm talking till I'm blue in the face. I don't want to just be rambling. Last comment, Gio said, for us in Mount Vernon, there was a cautionary situation that should lead folks to speak into their loved ones, especially our children. We are all guardians of our city and the safety of all and our citizens. I agree. again, I'm going to share the information, and I'll try to find a link to to what the superintendent had to say today. I know the mayor has been addressing it and dealing with it privately by creating a safe haven. Myself and Congressman Jamal Bowman had stopped through there yesterday, and she did that at City Hall. I'm sure she'll be addressing it, and hope she has her bully pulpit with her show, and she can go live anytime she wants. I'm sure we'll be hearing from her, but it's that time, we need that healing. And I never want to miss the opportunity as a member of the Save and Transform Mount Vernon Hospital Coalition. The fight is not over. We did help stop the closing of the hospital, but that was only one part of the fight. We need now to transform the hospital. We need a trauma section. We need a trauma section, so we can be dealing with situations like this. Our kids, our loved ones, when they get in those situations, don't have to be carted off to like Jacoby and other places. And I've heard several situations where doctors have said maybe if they, Mount Vernon had a trauma center and they came there first, they might have been able to save those individuals. So we'll never know. But we also have no maternity ward. I don't think anybody after 1980 something or 90 something has been born in Mount Vernon. How crazy is that? With all the issues of heart disease and all of that, we don't have a cardiac unit. So, Montefiore couldn't close the hospital. So they're doing everything to make it where it doesn't have the services the community need and have to go elsewhere, so they can continue to make the argument that we don't go to Mount Vernon Hospital. So we need to fight for them to supply the hospital with the services that the hospital needs. And it is an ongoing fight. It is not over. I'm involved in the coalition for that. So I wanted to say that. So anyway, with that, I'm not going to bore y'all too much more. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I greatly appreciate you. Let me see if any of these texts, no. Anybody else I need to address? A couple of people let me know they're praying. So we need a lot of that. Yes, other people are asking. So yeah, people are asking me what can they do? Let's get together, contact me. Let's make a move, man. It's time. It's time, or it's going to get way worse. And yes, I said worse. It's going to get worse. Thank you. This is a special edition of the Black Westchester Power Hour with Damon K. Jones and AJ Woodson. Damon, kept getting knocked off because he was on his phone. Dealing with the melee in Mount Vernon and a call to action to end the senseless violence. I can't even say gun violence no more, just that senseless violence. I can be reached at blackwestchester@gmail.com. Until next time, peace. You are now tuned into the People Before Politics radio show, brought to you by the good folks at
Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper.
Real talk for the community since 2014.